In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to publish and subscribe field contact input Goose between two S bricks with the RTT testset. We'll use one UR with firmware version 7.2 and another one with 7.8 firmware. Now I have two S bricks of different firmware versions 720 and 7.8, both configured under Vista UR setup. So let's check the status of the first one, the remote resources. For this one, we configured the two brick cores, the 1 and 2, and from the S brick front panel, we can see that the two channels LED lights are turned into green color. And also we can check the contact status. Is 1 is turned on because I'm using the RTT testset to apply the contact input 1 on. Same for the second S brick 780. I can check the remote resources, configure the two channel, and also the status field contact input 1. This is on. And in this demo, we're going to publish this field contact input status Goose message each other between the 720 and 780. We're going to do these configurations in the offline windows. So first, we're going to download these setting files to the offline windows. Right-click mouse and choose End Device to Offline Windows. And I use the default name SBrick 720 and click Receive. I'll download the second file, SBrick 780. Okay, after downloading, we're going to configure the 720 first. So there's two ways we can configure the Goose: by using the simplified Goose or manually configure the configurable Goose. Since this is just one field contact input, I'm going to use the manual way to configure this simplified Goose, which is under the product setup, communication 61850, and Goose configurable, transmission, configurable Goose. So I give this Goose name UR-720G1 and make sure this is a multicast, put the 01 for the MAC address, and I'm using the default VLAN priority and E-type app and dataset GGIO1. So we need also configure the GGIO1 to be the field contact input 1. So this GGIO1 is choose as FCI1 field contact input 1. That's for the brick. Okay, so that's the part for this configuration, and also we need to name the IED name. So the IED name, we call this UR-720, which is under the server configuration, and all these procedures you should have learned in this UR-1004, 3, to do this basic operation of the Goose message. Okay, after this configuration, we were going to generate a offline ICD file, and this is going to be import into the UR-780. So right-click mouse and choose Create ICD File, and we'll give this a name. Let's just use UR-720, and the extension will be ICD file, and click Save. And so the software is generating an ICD file. Okay, after that, we can just right-click mouse and choose write settings to the device and click send. So send this setting to the relay. Next, we're going to configure the subscribe from the 780. So we're going to open the IEC 61850 configurator from the 780 and open the RX Goose Boolean input. From here, we can click Add IED name and choose this SBRIC 720 UR-720 ICD file and click OK. And now we can see this IED name UR-720 displayed here. If you see a template instead of the IED name, so you need to go back to review the how to video UR-1005, how to generate the ICD file with the IED name if necessary. And now I got this UR-720 displayed. I will click OK. And now I can see this field contact input GGL1 is here. I can drag and to subscribe this one. So this for the subscribe of the 720 into the UR-780. Next, we're going to configure the publishing of the UR-780. So I'll go to open this TX Goose and first enable this mode into the Goose, and using this default control block name and Goose ID TX Goose 1 and choose dataset 1. And also we need to configure the dataset. So click the dataset. So we're going to use the TT6. Under TT6, if we click System, go to the bottom, we can see this field contact input GGR1. So we can drag this indication 1 status to be the published member here. And then we can go to the TX Goose 1 to check that TT6 is here, so that system is under the member 1. So that's the publishing of the 780 field contact input 1 to the UR-720, and we're going to save here. And after that, we can just write this setting file into the UR-780. Last, we're going to configure the reception from the 720 to 780. We're going to open the input outputs, remote devices. We're going to select this TX Goose as the Goose ID, and under the dataset, we're going to select the Goose input 1, and under the remote input, we're going to select this TX Goose 1 and also make sure the items is data set item 1. So that completes the subscription from the 780 to 720. And now we can right-click mouse and write the setting file into the 780. And after writing the both setting files, we're going to reboot the relay and test the status from the software. Now, after reboot the relays, let's check the remote input status of each relay. So first, we're going to open the SBRIC 720, and under status, we go for the remote inputs. And we can see that the remote input 1 is on. That's from the field contact input 1 from the UR-780. Then let's check the status of the 780. So we open the actual value, status, RX Goose Boolean. So now we can also see the RX Goose Boolean 1 status is on, and that's coming from the SBRIG 720 field contact input 1. And that concludes this demo of the Goose publishing and subscribing between the two UR relays of the firmware version 7.2 and 7.8.